So I've been thinking a lot about wanting to make a video on the weapon banner in Genshin Impact and if you should pull on it. I think if you're a free-to-play player or a low-spending Welcome Moon Battle Pass player, you've probably already heard that you should never pull on the weapon banner and that it's just a scam. But I personally believe that if you pull on the weapon banner at a smart time, it can be a really wise decision for your account. Now, before you write me off as a psycho, I need you guys to hear me out. I'm going to bring up a lot of different points and elaborate on all of them involving weapons as a whole in Genshin Impact that you just might not have ever even thought of. I'm going to say a lot of positive things about weapons, but there are a lot of negatives as well that I'm going to address. So before you start angrily typing in the comments, watch the whole video. And if you're a whale, congratulations, man. Spend that money however you like. You earned it. Probably. But these points won't influence your decision as much. So let's chat, shall we? Now, anytime we talk about should I pull on something in Genshin, I have to always say, do what you want. Maybe you don't care about the meta or improving your account's damage and you just want the character that you want. Go for it. Or maybe you just think weapons are lame and they're not exciting. Dude, more power to you. Don't pull. I can't gauge every single variable about your account and how your mind works. So just know I'm looking into this with as much of an objective mindset about powering up your account as I can. So first we should start by addressing the elephant in the room, why the weapon banner is known as a scam and sucks and why it has such a bad rep. The limited 5-star banner right here with Kokomi will give you Kokomi 50% of the time, or at worst, you lose the 50-50 and then you're guaranteed to get her next time. Now with the weapon banner, when you pull a 5-star, you have a 75% chance that it's either Engulfing Lightning or Everlasting Moonglow, the two featured 5-star weapons, and a 25% chance that it's just one of the random standard banner weapons like Wolf's Gravestone or Serpent Spine. And on top of that, instead of failing once and then getting the weapon you want, on the weapon banner, you have to fail twice using the epitomized path feature to actually get the weapon you want. So you would have to pull 3 5-stars before you get the weapon you want. And for my older Genshin players, the epitomized path feature wasn't even in the game when it started, so it used to be even worse. But anyway, the data is stacking up to show you why the weapon banner is kind of scummy. Now, I agree that the weapon banner is set up in a very degenerate way. I wish it was just like the character banner, but unfortunately it's not. This is the weapon banner we've got to deal with right now, but all the points I'm going to bring up still apply to how the weapon banner is today. So this is the #1 reason why I think pulling for a 5-star weapon on your free-to-play or low spender account isn't a terrible idea when done correctly. Resources. I'm talking talent books, I'm talking Mora, I'm talking EXP, and most importantly, I'm talking resin. Low spending or free-to-play accounts inherently have less resources, right? It's a free-to-play game at the end of the day. They got to make the whales feel like their money's going somewhere, right? Getting a new character on your account is obviously hype, especially a banging 5-star, but they take an immense amount of resources, Mora, resin, etc., to bring them up to their maximum potential. While a weapon, on the other hand, takes way less Mora and resin and resources, which leaves you with more resin and resources to get things like new artifacts, level up more characters, level up more weapons. Let me give you a visual. I'm not going to use a completely leveled up 10-10-10 talents character because I don't really think that's fair, but also keep in mind that 4 and 5-star characters take the exact amount of resin and EXP to level up from 1 to 90. Now, to get your Zhao to level 80 with talents 8, 6, and 7, I would have just done 866, but the Zhao mains would have came after me in the comments without a level 7 burst, all right? It takes approximately 1,167,500 Mora and approximately 1,800 resin. That's including all the talent books and all the character ascension material boss drops. While getting a 5-star weapon all the way to 90, which is its max level, takes approximately 1,176,830 Mora. That includes the ore EXP Mora price from the blacksmith and about 360 resin of weapon enhancement books. And just for another point, a 4-star weapon all the way to 90 is about 874,670 Mora all the way to level 90 and costs about 260 resin. Take this math with a grain of salt, guys. I'm not a math guy. I might have made a small mistake, and even the resin can depend on how lucky lucky you get in the domains. I'm willing, just for the sake of the argument, to say that a level 80 character and a level 90 weapon with all those talents and stuff cost the exact same amount of Mora. But just know, if you're going to take your character to the next level, they are going to go way higher than just 8, 6, 7. I'm talking something like 9, 8, 8, or even 10, 8, 8, 10, 8, 9. Talents cost an insane amount of Mora when you get past like the talent level 7 benchmark. And that's even more resin of more talent books. One huge thing is that weapon EXP is farmable for 0 resin. You just go around, break open some ores, and bring it to the blacksmith for a small amount of Mora. While character EXP sure comes from, you know, quests and opening chests and stuff like that, it is not going to be enough for your account's needs, and you're gonna have to spend resin farming EXP ley lines. Speaking of resin, just look at the difference that I said. 1,800 resin for the character versus only about 320 for a 5-star weapon level 90. That is an insane difference. Unfortunately, guys, resin is everything. It's artifacts, it's more character talent skills, it's leveling up your characters to 90, it's more weapons leveled up. You get the point. The crux of my argument is, on a free to play or low spending account, resin and resources is everything, and 5-star weapons give you so much more resin and resources to do other things, while still boosting up your character's strength, sometimes as much or more as getting a new character. Going off of what I just said about account strength, I want to talk about the strength and flexibility that weapons can bring to your account. How I look at it is that weapons can completely change the playstyle of how a character works. A character itself and its kit cannot be changed, right? They're always gonna have the same burst, the same skill, the same constellation abilities. But I think the core component that can really change the playstyle of a character is the weapon. After obtaining a great 5-star weapon or even a 4-star weapon, tons of different builds can open up to you and your character. Let's take Rosaria for example. Let's say you've just been using Rosaria as a cryo applier for your Razor team or something, right? Since all you have is a Favonius Lance. A great support weapon, more energy particles for Rosaria and her team, don't get me wrong, but it is of course the lower damage option. But now if you were to pull a Jade Winged Spear out of nowhere, not only does Rosaria have a little bit more crit for her to share with her Ascension 4 skill, and she'll be pumping out way more damage, you could actually look at Rosaria as a main damage dealer, right? Maybe with this newfound DPS, you could start running a Rosaria Xiangling melt comp with the Catch Xiangling and Jade Winged Spear Rosaria. Rosaria can even deal an insane amount of damage with something like Wavebreaker's Fin, a 4-star weapon, but that's a little bit more math heavy. Or let's flip it over to Kokomi. Kokomi is one of the best support characters in the game. Huge heals, heavy hydro application, great for keeping things like freeze up, tenacity of the Millith is easy to keep up with her, etc. And she's perfect to hold the thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, a 3-star option. Well, if you were to get the donut, Kokomi could evolve from just an off-field support to, you know, a sub DPS that actually warrants the field time of her burst to do a ton of damage, changing her from a pure support to a sub DPS support build. I personally don't think anybody should be pulling for the donut, but this is just an example since I'm the Coco guy. All right. Even a lot of 4-star weapons could be account changers for you. Right here, the Sack Bow on Diona. Way more energy, way more shield time for her. The Sack Sword for Xingqiu. More skill, more energy, more abilities. Maybe you even get something like the Ali Flash, the 4-star sword, since it has the highest base attack of a 4-star. Now you've got the highest base attack for your Bennett boost. Or even something like a Dragon's Bane. This is the pretty much highest DPS free-to-play weapon you can get on your Hu Tao, for example, for stuff like Xingqiu vape comps. My point is that weapons can change how flexible a character is on your entire account. It could give them a completely new role on a whole new team comp, or just take them to the next level that you couldn't otherwise do. If you've got a lot of great characters but a really bad assortment of weapons, it is going to really hinder the whole team's capabilities. You may have heard the term stat stick thrown around every once in a while, but pretty much what it is it's a weapon with amazing base attack and a great substat that you are just using for that, its stats, and you're not really, you know, taking advantage of its effect, you know, as much as it possibly could, but it is still a great upgrade for the character holding it. Weapons I would say are great standard stat sticks are things like the Skyward Harp or things like the Jade Cutter. For your characters who just want to deal a lot of damage, like your main DPS or even a sub DPS, these weapons are pretty much always going to be an upgrade from their 4-star or even 3-star counterparts. Now, love it or hate it, Hoyoverse or MiHoYo has designed Genshin Impact's limited 5-star weapons to be the best possible option for many of their characters. We've got Kazuha and the Freedom Sworn Sword, Raiden Shogun and Engulfing Lightning, Eula and the Song of Broken Pines, Hu Tao and the Staff of Homa. I'm going to stop there, but pretty much every limited 5-star character has some corresponding 5-star weapon that makes them the best they can possibly be. So for your favorite character, the character you use all the time, your main, getting that signature 5-star weapon on them feels fantastic. It gives you this sense of, you know, accomplishment, like you've completed the character, but it also like skyrockets the damage capabilities of that character. I personally didn't roll on the weapon banner even a single time until I was probably like 8 months deep into Genshin. So I had really poor weapon choices for my characters. But I remember when I eventually got a Staff of Homa on my Hu Tao, I seriously felt like I was doing twice as much damage with her. So maybe instead of saving up for a C1 or even a C2 or maybe even 2 different 5-star characters, you could go for a C0 and their signature 5-star weapon. And in a lot of cases, it's gonna be a way bigger damage boost than their C1. Now, after all those positive points comes the biggest caveat and what I think every single Genshin player has to accept. If you roll on the weapon banner, you have to be okay with not getting the weapon you want. You have to go into the weapon banner with the thought of, I'm going to get a 5-star weapon, not I am going to get Engulfing Lightning. There is that 25% chance you get a random standard banner 5-star weapon. Some of them are great, like Wolf's Greystone, Skyward Harp, and unfortunately some of them aren't very good. You have to be okay with this or you're gonna have Primo Gem Spender's Remorse big time. I don't think the epitomized path pity system is worth it at all for low spenders. That is a whale's feature. I think pulling for 1 weapon is cool on low spending accounts, but not 3. Along with that comes another piece of huge advice for my low spender homies. If you are not 100% okay with getting either of the featured weapons on a weapon banner, do not pull on that banner. Like right now, at the time of recording, it is Raiden Shogun and Kokomi's first ever rerun banners. And you can see the weapon banner has Engulfing Lightning and the donut Everlasting Moonglow. I would honestly say this is a terrible banner for low spenders to pull on. The donut is legit a useless weapon on any character in the game except Kokomi. Yes, even Barbara. And even then, Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers is a 3-star weapon that could be better than the Everlasting Moonglow in some cases. I'm here on the Genshin Wiki looking at all the weapon banners that have ever existed. Right here is the one we have right now. Kagura's Verity, Jade Cutter, 2 great stat sticks, especially if you got Yaoi Miko. Getting that Verity would be amazing. Vortex Vanquisher sucks. Calamity Queller isn't that good on anybody but Shen He, so I wouldn't pull on that one either. Right here though, Red Horn Stone Thresher, an amazing stat stick and the best in slot for Ito, Noelle, and then you got Skyward Harp, another great stat stick. Song of Broken Pines and Freedom Sworn Sword, this is an amazing weapon banner, right? LG, both Staff of Homa banners are amazing. Staff of Homa and LG, or Staff of Homa and the Wolf's Gravestone when we first had it, awesome. But Polar Star, Memory of Dust, not so good. Jade Cutter and the Donut again, not so good. You guys can gauge this for yourself, but I would only pull if you are okay with both the 5-star weapons and they are both very good for you and your account. So in conclusion, if the stars align with a perfect weapon banner with perfect weapons for your account, or even a great lineup of 4-star weapons attached to it, pulling on the weapon banner wisely on low spending and free-to-play accounts can be a really smart move. But you've got to be okay with getting any 5-star weapon, but you're gonna have a whole lot more resin to do other things that you want on your main account. I hope this video was helpful, guys, and maybe open your eyes to some points on weapons and the weapon banner that you might not have, ever thought of. While you guys are still here, you might as well just like the video to help me out. Sub to the channel to support me for absolutely free. Support what I do and to catch the next Genshin video. Let's keep it real, okay? I stream on Twitch as well all the time, so come drop over there, follow, drop that free Twitch Prime sub. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.